Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome to our podcast.
This morning we're going to have Gary's going to bring in his knowledge and a few other things. Let's hear it for old Gary Lavender.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Everybody hear me all right? All right. Did everybody get a card? All right. There's 3 words I want you to think about, and it's not a psych test, okay? Vision, dream, and destiny, okay? That's 3 words, and I'll get back to you on that. I was raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a son of the Revolutionary War. I am a son of the Confederates. My great-great-grandfather in the Revolution was a pastor that was documented, got all the paperwork and that. My uncle gave me a box and said, here, do something with this. So I started going through it, and I found out that he was a pastor under George Washington. You know, so, and my great-great-grandfather was in the 24th Regiment of Alabama, and so he was in the infantry and a lieutenant, so he has some background. I did not serve in the military. I got ready to go, and then in January of '69, was out 2:30 morning, not drunk, okay? A police officer hit us 2:30 in the morning and knocked us 270 feet from a dead stop. He was married and out with his girlfriend, and my left leg went to the dashboard. Well, that was my Navy career, you know, so. But anyway, after that, my grandfather and my father were crane operators. And so I got in the crane department, and we have a little, we're going to do a demonstration here. And also we got a video we're going to do. People are asking me, how do you raise a tower crane? And so for me to explain it, we're going to show you, okay? And a little demonstration. And I have 2 boys. One's just retired a year and a half, senior chief in the United States Navy. He served on the USS Blue Ridge. That's the admiral ship. He was in IT for the admiral at the time. And the other one works for Kroger's. He's in construction, does all the repairs and stuff like that. And then I ended up with Gail, my wife. She had 2 daughters, and I ended up with 13 grandkids and great-grandchildren. So, and I inherited that. But you know what I tell them? The bank's broke. So in the meantime, how I came to the Lord is I played a lot of ball in my life. When I was a kid, I used to get up, even before Mother got up, make me a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and took off to the ballpark with my glove and my bat, and took off. And I worked for this farmer, so I cut through his pasture, and he had some peach trees and some apple trees. So I asked if I could have one, and his wife says, "Take all you want." And so I grabbed a peach tree and a peach and an apple and put it in my bag and go to the ballpark and play ball all night, all day. So I love to play ball. In '85, my first wife, she said I want a divorce, so I give it to her, okay? So, and then in '88, I traveled a lot after that in construction, cranes and that, but I was going home one evening. I had a couple beers, this is honest God's truth, and a run of red light. I pulled over the side of the road, and I says, this is it. That was a Saturday night. Sunday, I ended up in church. I went back to church. I says, hey, but in the meantime, I'm going to back up. In 1970, I was at a construction site, and sitting on the back of my vehicle, taking my work boots off, and a D9 dozer cut and hit a water line. I stood up, and the water rushed under, and I went over the side, 26 feet. Sidewalk street fell on top of me. Broke my back in 2 places. As they was getting me out of the ditch with the fire truck, the ladder truck swung into the electric lines, and I didn't get shocked, but they got me there and got me in the hospital, and I learned something right then. The superintendent had a radio, and they said, "Will you be back tomorrow?" And the superintendent said, "I don't think so." So he said, "Well, he's only a number." So I figured that out real fast, And so that was in 1970. And so in the meantime, I got back in construction, and so my father and my grandfather. My father was considered one of the top 10 crane operators in the state of Ohio. So it was a pretty hard reputation to try to stick to. And people hated my father or hated my grandfather, and I worked for him. So I got the blunt of everything. So I learned, to be tough. I had an operator who says, "You're going to have to be tough." So I learned to be tough. But anyway, then I met Gail, and at church we was in a singles group, and there's something that really got to me. I wanted to know what she knew about Christ, and I was trying to figure it out. And then I learned she had a relationship with Jesus Christ. I didn't. I want to learn more about the relationship with Jesus Christ. And so the church we belonged to in Cincinnati, got involved with them. And then there was a trip to Portugal. And someone asked me if I would like to go. Well, I just went through a divorce, didn't have a whole lot of money, paying child support and everything else, trying to get my life straightened out. And I said, I just don't have a lot of money at this time. So the pastor come to me and he says, "There's someone that ended up can't go but paid the trip. Would you go in his place?" And I said, "Only if I could repay it." He said, "That'd be fine." So I went to Portugal and helped build a Bible school, okay? And it was very interesting. With my construction background, I helped them out a lot. But I had, they had a strange paint cans, 5-gallon paint cans. And we tried to use screwdrivers, but it was so narrow and everything, trying to, lift them up and get the lids off of them. Well, this tavern that I used to play ball with was on my keychain. I said, "Well, let me try this," and it opened all the paint cans that we had. So that was interesting. Everybody said, "Well, this is interesting." Okay, so but anyway, then Gail and I got married, and then I still was traveling with different jobs, and then I was making a lift on a crane. I had 200 foot of boom in it, and had to pick 117,000 feet, 117,000 pounds. And so what it was when I picked it off the truck, I had a lot of wire rope on the drum was spooled off. So the friction, you got to figure friction, okay, into this. So the friction was reduced. So I had no problem picking it off the truck and putting it on the ground. But when we got ready to set it, I picked it back off a low boy, and we moved it over. So when I got to set it, I had to put it 40 feet in the air. Well, when I picked it up and started going with it, I got about 15 feet in the air. Well, I had I don't know if you guys understand line pull, but I only had a 5-part line. And I liked the 7-part line because I reduced the wire rope on the drum. So when I latched the brake, it wouldn't hold. And I had all this weight hanging in. And when I did, I just pulled all the frictions in and locked her up. I says, "Now what do we do?" And so found out, we lowered the load down and we tested it. And then my boss, he was about 6'4". He had arms like this. I seen him stand inside of a boom with a 16-pound sledgehammer and knock the boom pins out. Now, this boy was big. And so he's done the same. He picked some counterweights up, the same load, and he couldn't latch the brake. So I was getting ready to be fired, but found out it wasn't my fault. It was mechanical. So in the meantime, I got tired of running junk and went to Florida here, went to school for a company, and started learning about crane inspections, so I got into that. Well, I already had 25 years running cranes, so this company picked me up pretty good, and in the meantime, I started doing that, but I traveled all over. I've been all over the world, and when I went to St. Croix, Virgin Islands, now my wife was very smart. She would make her reservations first, then she'd make mine. She'd go with me. She'd go on vacation. I had to pay for it. So, but in '93, I was doing an inspection on a clamshell bucket. I was in Davenport, Iowa, and the shivs inside of a clamshell bucket. I was checking for bushings and everything, and when I stepped out, it started raining, and my foot slipped, and I hit the equalizer. Now, Dennis knows what I'm talking about on a clamshell bucket. He's been around them, but it turned in on me, and I had my right foot in the clamshell bucket standing on my left, and the boom was on the ground. I had to wait for this operator to build air to release the pressure, and as soon as he started releasing the pressure, I pulled my pant leg back, fell back, and I seen my leg like this. I said, it's broke. Well, they rushed me to the hospital, and ended up I was there for 2 weeks, and I called my orthopedic surgeon who took care of my back about my foot, and he says, come on. And so I laid in the hospital in Cincinnati for almost 7.5 weeks. Yeah, but reconstructed and everything, and then I went back and worked for another inspection company. In 1999, I started my own business because I got tired of running junk. And so, in the meantime, I've done some of the largest cranes in the world. I have pictures of one over here, 495 feet. It's taller than the Empire State Building, in Opala. But again, I don't know how I made it this far, you know. And so I know it was Jesus Christ. So the vision was, I liked the construction part. The dream, I wanted to be an operator. I wanted to be the best of the best, like my father and my grandfather. But it was hard, you know. And my destiny, I still haven't reached it. Okay, I don't know if you guys have reached it, but I have not. But I still, I believe in Psalms 109 and 105 verse. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. And so I followed the light, followed Jesus. Again, and the testimony I have, again, I want to know what my wife learned, and I've learned more about Jesus Christ. And then we were gone. I was gone all the time, and I think she loved it. You know, she done what she wanted. You know, but she did travel with me a lot. I'd come in, and the company called me, and I need you on a job. We was in Cincinnati, and one meeting in Morgantown, West Virginia. And so I did cranes on barges, so I had to have a naval architect. And so I would draw up where the crane was sitting and draw up the diagram, and we do stability testing. And then they get ready to make the lift. My insurance was almost $40,000 a year, and I had 8 employees with me. So I had to hustle. I put my insurance company, before anything, I said, don't ask me how many miles I drive. I drove 56,000 miles a year. And I flew. I mean, I was in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, Aruba. I was in Canada. I just turned a job down this past 9 months ago to England. This company liked me, and I said, well, I don't want to do it no more. I'm done. You know, after my wife passed away, I said, why am I working for? I'm tired, you know, and I traveled, and And I just says, no, I'm done. And I had to worry about my granddaughter because we raised her since 5 years old. And when Grandma passed away, when she was in the hospital with the virus, she talked to her more than me or anybody else because she was on the verge of committing suicide. And that was my biggest concern, is her. And today it's still her. But now I've got her in counseling, and she's doing fantastic. So praise God, you know. And but that's where my life has been. And again, and I want to share something with you fellas. When the music stops, it's disaster in your life. Trust me. I've been in a lot of fights in my life. I used to look for it, and I could find it. You know, I'm a big boy. I run with iron workers, and back in the day, 85% of the iron workers were Marines, tough. You know, Boilermakers were tough. You know, and so I run with them. But the music stopped when she passed away. I want to share something with you fellas. When you go home, just take your wife, put her in your arms, and just dance and just sing, I love you, and just keep the song going. Trust me. Yeah. Like I said, I quit. I didn't drink, you know, but again, do me a favor. Just take your wife in your arms and just tell her you love her, because the time might come, and you don't. It's tough. When she was in the hospital, I couldn't touch her, but I could see her in the glass room. And she went like this, took the mask off, and I watched the meter in 30 minutes. It was gone. I mean, I went to my feet. My knees, and I cried. Because, man, she was my lifeline. I've been places. She didn't even know where I was at half the time. She did. And but she really was my lifeline. Again, now I got Walter. Walter's going to help us, okay? Are you ready? All right. I'll get out of the way here. All right. This is in Cincinnati, Ohio, from Maxim Crane Works. This company is the largest crane company in the United States. Griff Carlisle was my mentor. So I learned a lot. Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Yeah. So, all right. Now, you have the cars with the hand signals in it. So everybody, the hand signals. But a lot of times today we use radios. 90% of my lifts I did was with radios. But you had hand signals. And okay, that one's I believe, I'm not sure, and I know when that was about, it was about 285 or 290 in the air. Now I've been 1,000 feet in the air on a crane, 1,000 feet. Now today I don't care how high I climb as long as I got 1 foot on the ground. Yeah, I had two harnesses on my linear, and my linear, I put one for the ship, one for my neck. One fails, the other one's got me because I didn't want to hit the ground. All right. So we just had an accident down here in Florida. I did a training class for OSHA in Tampa, and in Florida, crane accidents is number 2 in the nation. And so number 1 was Texas. Florida was number 2. And California was number 3. And New York was number 4. And see, and if you look at your hand signals, this is up. Okay, raise the load. All right, now we're going to arch to the engineering. Whenever I get to a job site, I have to do an inspection. I want the manuals. I want to see the manuals, go through it, go step by step. I had one in Hope, Arkansas, the home of Bill Clinton. And it was a brand new 18,000 Liebherr. Now, Germans their technology is fantastic, and we got left behind. And so I got the book, and I says, fellas, we're missing a piece, the midpoint suspension to make the luffer, the jib. And so they said, it's here, Gary. I said, okay. So we get ready to make it. I said, where's it at? They said, we don't know. I said, I didn't find it. So they made a phone call, and they found out that it's sitting on the dock in Germany. So I was only supposed to be there 3 days and gone. I was there for 2 weeks till we get it all back together. But anyway, I thought this was the one. Yeah. Okay, there's a platform. See the platform? Now, when they put a piece in, they unbolt it, and they have false work, and they jack it. Okay, they have jacks on the corners, and you raise it up, all right? But anyway, we bring the piece in, and we have a platform, and that's when they bring it in, and then they put it in, they bolt it, and then they jack it again, and that's how they do it. All right? Now, I'm going to demonstrate. Someone asked me, says, well, how do you keep that headache ball from swinging? Well, an old timer took me, he went out, found me an old stick, a string, and an old washer, and he said, now, this is how you control the load. Okay, as it's swinging, when it comes to you, you boom up, okay? See? As you swing in. As the load goes to its furthest point, you swing over, all right? And the same way as you go down, you boom down. And that's how you do it. Hey, I sit in front of TV for many, many hours, and on the job site every time I learn. But that's how you do it. That's how you control it, you know?
Gary, I don't want to get ahead of your thing, but how does the wind play into all that?
Okay, I've been in them all night long, because we'd be jacking the tower crane up and the wind pick up. And so we'd have to pick a load up, all right? And we have to balance it out, okay? And so in the meantime, you're up in that crane, and it's going like this all the time. You get your pickup truck, you're still going like this, you know? And I hope you don't get stopped with getting DUI or anything like that, because if you had to walk the line, you ain't gonna do it, you know? So you're like that all the time. Yeah, you have to climb it. Now, the one in 1,000 feet in the air, what I did is I went up in the building in an elevator, and then I had to cross over. They had a platform cross over from the building. Then I had to climb 300 feet. Yeah, but I have pictures over here. It's 490 feet. It's the largest tower crane in the world, the heaviest lift tower crane in the world. And it had an elevator. And the elevator, if it broke down, it had a little hatch like this. And they said, Gary, if it breaks down, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to stay there till you guys get me out. But I had to go to the very top, 495 feet on this one. And a client called me and said, hey, Gary, I'm going to buy a crane in North Carolina. I want you to go with my mechanic. So we flew out, so I met him at the job site, and I went into Louisville because the next day I had to go do this crane because they tore it down and had to move it on another job on the other side of the job site. So I got back at the hotel about 2:30 in the morning, and I had to be up at 5 to be on the job at 6:30. And so the door at the bathroom swung wrong from the other day. And so I stubbed my toe. You know how that is. And then I had to go 495 feet in the air. And I'm limping bad, you know. And this one mechanic says, Gary, what's wrong? I says, I stubbed my toe in the bathroom door. I says, I'll get you down. So he had another operator, had a crawler crane, had 600 foot of boom. He says, hey, John, swing over here with a man basket, pick Gary up and take him to the ground. So that saved me because, man, I was hurting, you know. But, okay, most accidents because of setting them up. They don't set them up properly, all right? And they should be, like when they get ready to set one of these up, it takes about 10 or 11 yards of concrete. And then it has to set and cure for about 30 to 60 days. Yeah. And so that, on a mobile crane, when they have the outriggers out, they don't put mats under them, okay, because of ground. And, you know, a lot of cranes, I've seen them, they'll pull over the side of the road on Florida, and all of a sudden they'll go back and see it laying in the ditch, you know? Yeah, because of the ground. Yeah, I did one time. I picked up a load and I was walking with it, and I had it low to the ground, and it raised up 4.5 feet off the ground. But I was low to the ground, it touched the ground, I cut everything loose. I says, okay, fellas, let's go get the bigger crane. So that's what we did, you know. But it's all about ground pressure. You do the same thing. You jack it back down till another crane can assist you and start taking it apart. And yeah, that's how it's going. Yeah, but you can do it. We did one. It was 300 feet in the air. We did it in a day and a half. Yeah. But you got to have good people, good connectors. And when I was running a crane, I loved setting iron. I loved it, man. I loved the Christmas tree. And what this Christmas tree is you have 4 or 5 pieces on the hook, and then you bring it in. And I had one iron worker. He came to me and he said, Gary, when I throw that sling on the hook, I want you to keep going up. I said, okay. So he threw the sling on the hook, and I started raising the load, throwing that hook. Well, the iron workers wear them long sleeve gloves. And so he threw it on there, but the hook caught the glove. And I'm looking for my connector. I get ready to hoist up. And I look back, I had him 13 feet off the ground. I said, hey, Bob, I'm sorry. He said, it wasn't you, it was me. I was too slow. Yeah, I'm still involved with one company out of Memphis, Tennessee. It's called Barnhart Crane and Rigging. The owner said, Gary, you're not just a crane inspector for us. You're part of the Barnhart family. So one time I went there and I wanted to see the general manager. He said, come on, we got a meeting. I said, I can't go to a meeting. He says, you're part of the Barnhart family. Come with me. So, and it's a stiff leg derrick, 2,500,000 pounds. We just made a lift a year and a half ago with it, and went out 30 feet. 130 feet with 2 million pound, 2,500,000 pound lift, and but it had 38 parts of line. If you get into frictions after 36 parts of line, you're not making any advantage. So you have to get another bigger block and more shivs and that, and then you had to. And that's where, if you look on YouTube, you can see some monstrous cranes. And I get involved in crane accidents all the time, or someone calls me and says, hey, you knew someone that can help me. I did some crane accidents for some lawyers, but I don't like to mess with them anymore because you might do investigation for them, then go to court, but it's not settled for 3 or 4 years, and that's when you get paid. I said, nah, I don't want to do that no more. You know, so, yeah. Not this one. Now, the one I got here does. This is stationary. This is stationary. And this is the platform. Okay? But, yeah, it's...
Gary, tell them about the counter.
Oh, and this one right here? Yeah, I got this right here. Now, this one is 240 ton. All right? As we're making and it's 240 ton right here, about 100 meters, okay? So when this makes the lift, these counterweights move. And it's all by computerized. And like I said, the Germans have the technology. The Japanese have it. The Chinese try to copy it. They're not doing very good. And so we're behind. Our technology is behind in the crane industry. So I hate to say it. I like to see USA number one. But like I said, this crane, it's higher than the Empire State, higher than the Statue of Liberty, 747. And this is a assist crane. This put that crane together. About $50 an hour. Now, a tower crane operator, he works 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, mine was $40,000 a year. You know, that's a lot. You have to run hard to make that kind of money, plus your employees. So, yeah. I only had one incident. I got sued. Wasn't my fault. The operator did not do the inspection before they used it. I was in there in August. I get a phone call in November, and it failed. I got drawn into a lawsuit because my name was on the paperwork. And so it cost me $17,500. Yeah, but I wasn't found guilty. I have documentation says I was not guilty at any time. But if you guys want to, I have some old pictures of the Chrysler building when they was putting that together. I have all kinds of major pictures. And again, you brothers are being good to me. I hope you got something out of it. But like I said, my testimony is that I don't know how I made it this far, but the Lord was with me. In Philip 4:19, He would take care of all our needs. He did. He took care of all my needs. I mean, in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in Him and He will show you your path to take. And He did. He showed me my path. So, again, your vision, your dream, and your destiny.
Love you guys. Anybody else that wants to, let me know. You're more than glad. I'll be more than glad to let you get up here, okay?
On behalf of our pastor and staff here at OAG, we want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of our ministry. We are grateful for you and the support you give our church and its ministries so that we can continue to do what God has called us to do, to be the family church for the family of God. For more content from Pastor Strickland and Oxford Assembly of God, check out our media website at oag.church/media.